Welcome to your Mamamoon Podcast, with interviews and tips from real life for your pregnancy journey from belly to baby.
We are Tessa and Nina, and we are passionate about motherhood. Our goal is to give you tools towards a beautiful and empowering experience during labor and a smooth entry into life as a mom.
Hi and welcome everyone. Super nice to be back with another episode of our Mamamoon Podcast. We're almost at we're at episode number 18 now or so. So we've actually come a long way. We're super happy to have you as usual. If you like what you're hearing, please like, share, comment. Make sure that for sure you share this episode with other moms out there that need to hear about it. Today we're going to bring you another great inspiring birth story with Natalie.
Hey, so we are super happy to have you here with us, Natalie. Natalie's American girl that happened to land in the Netherlands, fall in love, luckily for us, so that we can meet her. And we did that. We met Natalie, we met Kelvin during one of the Mamamoon weekend retreats in Zeeland, which was super special. Beautiful couple, and so happy to have you today with us, so you can tell us all about the story of your baby and maybe a little bit even before and beyond. So before we start, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, of course. Yeah. And thanks. I'm also super excited to be here and also grateful to be able to share, my story. Natalie, I'm American. I've been living and working here in Holland for 14 years. And like you said, I came for love and I stayed for love. And I like to say, I hear my little dinosaur, but I like to say my day job is kind of as an impact investor. But next to that, I also have a kind of deep spiritual practice where I'm doing energy at work and sound healing. So I kind of like to combine the two worlds together. And maybe also good to know, I also now moved recently from Amsterdam to Drenthe, which is in the north of the Netherlands. And that's been also super beautiful and special to have my kind of pregnancy and my birth here kind of surrounded by nature, which is also really kind of grounding and very beautiful.
You're radiating. That's amazing. Yeah. So cool to see how you're like
Earth Mama
energy. Yes, sort of off the screen there. Perfect. Yeah, super nice to have you. Maybe before we go into your birth story, basically, because that's obviously the sort of centerpiece. There's so much that we want to talk to you about, and I mean, you just mentioned also your healing practice. So there's a lot of stuff here that would be super interesting. But for today, we're going to focus on your birth story because it's such a beautiful story to share. But before we go into that, can you maybe tell us a little bit about your pregnancy? How did it go? How did you feel? You just said you moved to Drenthe, so obviously a little different probably as well than the usual capital Amsterdam pregnancy. Was there anything special during this freaking pandemic that we're in? Tell us a little bit. How did you experience your pregnancy?
Yeah, no, it was really, I guess I could call it kind of, soft and beautiful. And of course, there's like the physical aspects of it, and I think that those, I felt pretty good for most of the pregnancy. But I think when I was reflecting on your question more was really kind of the emotional, mental, spiritual side, I thought was really beautiful, because I think because of the pandemic, you really were forced to kind of be inside and really like literally go within. And I sometimes like to think, pregnancy is on the one hand a really personal experience, and at the same time it's very visible. And here I felt like I really could kind of shelter and cocoon, in my home and in nature, and really kind of, like I said, go deep within, and spend a lot of time connecting with myself, with my Mira, and connecting with her and her energy, and already kind of building this beautiful relationship throughout the pregnancy. So I think that was, for me, was a really, really special to be able to have that time and space to do that.
Amazing. And it's, actually you already mentioned a little bit, but maybe you can share a little bit more how you were preparing also for birth, for postpartum. What is it that you found helpful? What is it that you would, advise maybe other moms to like pay attention to when you think about birth, about the postpartum time?
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, what really helped, and I made it a priority, was really to have a kind of a daily yoga practice and some form of meditation and breathing, whether I was listening to something guided, affirmations, or even just kind of sitting with myself. So, hello. So yeah, that was really, really helpful and grounding for me. And I really made sure every day to kind of, I didn't care what time I woke up with work, what time, I really tried to make it a point to do that every day. Also being here in nature, I really walked every day, whether with myself or with my partner, and listened to lots of inspiring podcasts. There's just so much great information. And I think that was also important, was really, this idea that knowledge is power. So kind of trying to empower myself by knowing and being prepared kind of on what to expect, again, both physically, mentally, and emotionally. So all of these things I think help to kind of build and strengthen and get me really excited for this like really intense moment. The last thing I'll also say is I worked with a naturopath. Actually, she's based in Amsterdam, and she's amazing. She's a Western medical doctor, but also kind of trained holistic healer. And she actually helped me before I even got pregnant, kind of just helping me with my body, my hormones, my gut. So I think that really helped. And also my acupuncturist, that helped also kind of physically, mentally, emotionally. So if that resonates with you, I can highly recommend kind of, doing that piece as well, because that's also part of the puzzle.
Yeah, absolutely.
So cool. I mean, one of the things we always talk about is really preparing well. What you're saying, knowledge is power, and knowledge is empowering, is so true. And I still do think that I see a lot of couples that are not really well prepared and don't go deep and don't really understand what is going to happen. So for you to take that journey and really make it a point to prepare yourself mentally, physically, and spiritually is such a great holistic approach to it. It's great to hear. And then, I mean, when after you had this, you had this knowledge, you were very well prepared in a lot of aspects. Talk a little bit about your birth experience itself, right? Tell us the story. I mean, how did it start? What were the signs that it get started? Were you, with the connection that you had, what did you feel? Was there the big splash of water out of the movies, or how did it? Just tell us. I mean, this is your space, opening up the floor for you. Tell us in all the details about your story, because we want to hear it.
Yeah, no, well, it was really, it was earlier than expected. I'll start with that. And maybe that was actually the first sign, because I think I had just gone on my my maternity leave, and I think I had literally sent my last work email on, the Sunday. And then I think Monday was a public holiday in Holland, and Tuesday I went to my acupuncturist and physio. So I was feeling like really good. And I think I even had a good cry Sunday when I was like, oh, like I finally start my maternity leave. Like, this is it. And then on Wednesday morning, we were getting, this is the 26th, we were getting ready to go to the midwife for our 36-week checkup and to go through my birth plan and everything. And like 10 minutes before we were about to walk to our checkup, I noticed some kind of red pinkish discharge when I went to the toilet. And I thought, oh, shit, like, is this it? I had been already feeling kind of so relaxed and ready, but also looking forward to having kind of 4 weeks to prepare. And then I thought, oh, I think she might be coming. So we go to the midwife for the checkup, and she checks and everything is great, but she's like, yeah, I think there's a bit less amniotic fluid. And she indeed then kind of checked, my underwear and kind of checked, and she's like, yeah, your water broke. So, your whole birth plan, I had wanted to do a home birth. I had even just ordered the bevalbad, the birth pool, like 2 days before, like it was going to be delivered like the next day. So yeah, that whole plan needed to go out the window, because I was before 37 weeks, and before 37 weeks, you have to go to the hospital. And I had really wanted to have kind of that home birth, and I had already had ideas about how to set up the house. And yeah, everything had to go, out the window. We also hadn't ordered stuff for her. The baby room wasn't ready. We didn't have clothing. So it was kind of like, oh shit, I needed to kind of turn my whole plan around. And we luckily had a couple of hours to go home, order some stuff. And kind of prepare also more mentally just for this whole new experience. Because now instead of being able to be at home, we had to go to the hospital. So yeah, after also, I think I needed a good cry just to kind of let that out of my system. Like, okay, we have to change course. And then I think on the way to the hospital, I started to get some contractions. We had some good music going in the car. And then I was able to kind of flip the switch a bit and like, all right, she's coming. Like, I can't wait to meet her. And then we checked into the hospital and people were super kind. We had our own little private room, which was great. And I set up for myself a little birth altar. Because of the pandemic, I wasn't able to do a kind of baby shower. So I had asked all of my girlfriends to send cards and gifts and stones so I could make a little altar, for me and for my baby. So I kind of set that up and we had like a playlist going and just trying to create at least the same atmosphere as if I had been, in my own home. And then that afternoon, the contractions started to kind of pick up around 5:00. And what's interesting at the hospital, of course, there's just so much technology. So they want to put all kind of, monitors on you, which is fine. But I think that for me kind of inhibited the process a little bit, so like what I was feeling was much more intense than what they were picking up in the machines. And they also made you be on your back, which was super uncomfortable. So we kind of, I think after kind of one experience like that, I think it was around 7:00, where I really, the contractions were starting to get intense and more painful. We were just like, okay, forget this, forget the hospital. Like, let's just go into our own zone and do our own thing. Just forget about all the monitoring and stuff. And from that point on, I think that was around 8 p.m. I just kind of went into the zone. I was, on my hands and knees on a yoga mat. I had a meditation going. And I was just kind of breathing through each wave. And it was really surreal. Like, you lose complete track of time. Kelvin was in the room, but just kind of, I needed to just be in my own space and kind of breathing through. And like I said, just really present and experiencing every single contraction as this kind of wave breathing through. And then by about 10 p.m., one of the nurses came back in and she saw that I had visibly changed. She saw me, she saw the nature of the contractions, and she's like, okay, I think you're ready to go into one of the birth rooms, which was great. And thankfully, one of the rooms had a pool because I really was like craving water. So I was thankfully able to go into the birth pool, even with all of the gadgets around. And wow, the minute I hit the water, it was just like, oh, okay, bliss. Just because at that point, the contractions had just started getting really, really intense. And I just needed to be immersed completely in the water. And what was, interesting, again, kind of, I was in a daze. I had my glasses on, so I couldn't totally, and I had taken them off, so I couldn't totally see. But I also really liked that, because then I kind of put a cold compress on my face, or I asked my partner to do that. And I was just kind of in the water. He had put the music on. And that was also really beautiful. One of my girlfriends had made a playlist for me for the birth experience. And I had already listened to it a couple of times before. So that really helped me to kind of get into the zone. So I was just kind of in the pool, lights out, cold compress on my eyes, just breathing and probably making all kind of strange animal noises, just kind of trying to move through each contraction. Again, I don't know what time it was, but at a certain moment, the midwife checked me and I was already 9 centimeters dilated. So I think that was maybe even only an hour and a half, I think, into the whole, since we moved into the birth room. So it went really super fast. And then after that, because my water had broke, I wasn't able to deliver in the bath. So I got out and kind of went up onto the bed and kind of put myself over, kind of like resting on hands and knees, but kind of with the support of the bed, kind of fully raised up. And that was great, because then I could feel like, I could lean over something, but also be a bit on my hands and knees, or my knees, I should say. And with my partner next to me. So Kelvin was by my side and kind of, kissing my neck, and really like this oxytocin booster, which was fantastic. And yeah, that was really special because I think at that point, you know, I was pretty much 10 centimeters and she said, okay, you can start to push. And then really with each contraction, Kelvin was just kind of kissing my neck and soothing me. And then just at the right moment, you know, the midwife was like, okay, start pushing. And really, I think we did that for about 36 minutes and then she was here. So it went super fast, really like a speed train, they said. And I remember at some moment, I really was just like diving deep and calling out to my spirit guides and just, yeah, also feeling this deep connection with all the other mothers, like knowing I'm not alone, that so many other women have done this before me. And yeah, it just felt so, yeah, out of body, but so empowered. And yeah, I really enjoyed that kind of the physical aspect of it, that your body is not your own in that moment. It's shaking and you just have to surrender and trust so completely that, yeah, that she knows exactly what to do, that she knows how to make her way out, that you can breathe and push her with her. And yeah, it was pretty powerful, but really amazing experience. So yeah, that was the birth. No painkillers. And I think because she came early, she was still quite small. So I was lucky, no tearing or anything. Just a small kind of wound. Yeah, the afterbirth was a little bit less nice. Of course, it's like amazing. She's on your chest and she was all covered in vernix and so cute. And like, you're just a bit overwhelmed in that moment. And yeah, with the placenta, that just didn't want to leave. So I needed a bit of synthetic oxytocin to get it out, which was fine. But the funny thing is that when it came out, we noticed it was in the shape of a heart, which was really beautiful and surreal. I actually even sent it to Kasia, like, okay, here's my heart placenta.
Yeah, my husband was scrolling through the pictures on my phone. It's like, what the hell is this? The placenta of Natalie, you don't know?
Yeah. Yeah, so that was just this like little, you know, and it, well, you know, me being the spiritual junkie that I am, you know, and she happened to be born on kind of this super full moon, you know. Yeah, so that was also just really in a lunar eclipse. So it was just really kind of, yeah, beautiful and so quiet. It was 1:26 a.m. and we were just in our own little cocoon with our beautiful little Mira, who was just awesome. So then, yeah, that was my birth story.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I mean, there's so many elements that I'm, you know, the way that you switched, like from being completely set on home birth and then getting the message like, okay, you know, you're 2 days too early. So it's going to be different. And I mean, the way that you made this whole, you know, that switch, that's just so powerful. And also knowing what you want and how you want and how you know, directed yourself and just focusing on what matters, not being distracted with things that can very easily distract us at this moment, because we are so open for all sorts of triggers, the positive and the negative, and it really takes a lot to keep the focus on like, okay, you know, this is important, I'm going to meet my daughter. And so it's super, super strong, really, really beautiful. Really love it, absolutely love it. And you've mentioned already also many things that were helping you through, which is super helpful as well. If you look at yourself and also at Kelvin, you as a team, how was that? So how was it come close, but maybe more from his side as well, how he experienced it, and
that was, he was just my anchor and really also a great advocate for me, and a space holder, an oxytocin booster. I mean, we had gone to your beautiful retreat and we had practiced all these things and massage and rebozo. We did none of those things. So I was a little like, oh, I wanted to do all these beautiful things, you know, together with him. But I think because the birth, it was going so fast. He also just needed to shift in his role. And it was beautiful because we were talking to each other after the birth. And I was also asking him about how he experienced it. And I think he said, you know, when he was watching me and he saw how in my own world, but how kind of in control I was, I think that gave him a lot of confidence that he's like, yeah, she knows exactly what she's doing, and what she needs is space, and the support and love, which I absolutely felt. And that was amazing. So I think he knew exactly kind of, what I needed, and also my character, kind of strong, independent. And so he was able to give me kind of what I needed in that moment, and just to be by my side and hold that space for me. But also to have the confidence and trust in me, and of course our baby, that we could do this, with the three of us, which I think was really special, because I can imagine for fathers, it's also, as a mom, it's hard to communicate what you need in that moment, and then it relies a lot on him to kind of look for the signs, and of course he wants to be involved, and he knew exactly kind of what to do in that moment. And for him, then he said to kind of see me in my power like that, kind of this wild primal woman. Yeah, that also feels pretty awesome. So
amazing. I mean, that's so cool. That's one of the big goals, of course, that we also have, to empower your partner during birth to know what they need to do, and that can be an active or a more supporting role, but to understand and see their moms, and help them with whatever that might be at the moment. So amazing. And I think it's also a bit of it's a really deeply spiritual journey as well for the partners, right? To see, let go, and be there, and as you say, hold that space. Amazing. Yeah, such a beautiful story. The other thing that I really loved about it is how you then sort of pivoted from home birth and everything you wanted to do into hospital birth, as Kasia already said, but then still found ways within that super short time frame where you didn't have any time to prepare for hospital birth, to make your birthing room and the rooms there your own, and create that atmosphere that you needed for yourself. And there's so much to learn from that, so much to learn about resilience, and so much to learn about setting yourself up for your own empowerment, no matter the environment at the end of the day, right? I mean, yes, home would be great, but we can create similar situations in different environments. So lots of wisdom there. Now we've we at Mamamoon, we always, and we said that during the retreat as well, we don't only look at birth, but then at this journey that only starts with this empowering magical moment of bringing your baby to the world, and then parenthood starts. Tell us a little bit. It's been a few weeks for you now. How's Mira been? What have you experienced in your postpartum? How did you celebrate your postpartum, or create a postpartum period for yourself? What were positive or negative surprises? What would you have liked to know up front? So all of that. So what happened after this magical moment of birth?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's been total roller coaster. I mean, she's just awesome. And it's like, you'll have these moments I look at her and I'm just so overwhelmed with love, like also moved to tears sometimes, which is also like pretty special. I mean, I think, you always know, and you've heard, okay, the kind of love that you feel for a child is just, you don't know until you have one. And I really, like I said, kind of overwhelmed with so much love that you realize that it's the most powerful force there is. So much love. And at the same time, I don't think I thought I could cry more in one day than I have with her. So it's like also just an incredible, intensely emotional kind of roller coaster. And of course, your hormones are, going all directions, and all kind of conditioning and limiting beliefs are coming up for you, all the fear and shame. Am I doing the right thing? Am I a good or bad mom? Can I breastfeed? Yes or no? Like the sleepless night. It's just, so it's the most like beautiful and terrifying thing, I think, at the same time. And not much can really prepare you for that, aside from, just trying to be, I have to keep reminding myself, just be kind, compassionate. You're really doing your best. Take it one day at a time, or even one feeding, like every few hours at a time. Just kind of keep trying to, breathe and stay connected to your partner. stay connected to, either other moms or other friends who are moms, and you can share your experiences. I think one of the lessons that I've learned, which has been a double-edged sword, it's like on the one hand with my partner, I really, I found it sometimes difficult to ask for help. So I think definitely speaking to your partner in advance and kind of, trying to make some kind of agreements on how you can help each other or work together as a team, I think is really important, because I find it difficult sometimes to ask for help, and then I'm trying to do everything. And then of course I burn my own candle at both ends, because like I'm not taking care of myself, and I'm, then you're not able to fully show up for your baby. But it also deprives the father of the chance to like really have a bond with the baby. So we kind of learned that early on, when I kind of hit a wall during the kraamzorgtijd of just like completely overtired and had tried to do all the feedings and all the changing. So mamas, engage your partner. They also want to be part of it. And they also need to find their own way to connect, with the baby and to calm the baby. And because I also noticed that I was like, oh, he should do this, he should do that. Let him do his own thing, or him or her. It could also be a her, of course, or it. So yeah, just let your partner kind of find their own way, and just trust and let go, and take that extra sleep when you can get it. So that's kind of one thing I would definitely recommend. Breastfeeding was, of course, also quite an intense journey. It was something I really, really wanted. And I was fortunate to have a great kraamverzorgster that really helped me to make it work. And of course, some feedings go easier than others. And sometimes we need a bottle, and sometimes we need a formula, and just being able to accept that it's all okay. And as long as I'm doing it from a place of love, she's getting the best nutrition possible. And that's the most important thing. And you also need to make it nice for yourself. Otherwise, you'll totally make yourself crazy and you won't enjoy the period at all. So just kind of being kind and compassionate for yourself, I think, are really important. And maybe the last thing, what I notice is sometimes, I want so much for her, that maybe the first thing in the morning is I'll want to put her in the carrier and be with her the whole day. It's like, if I don't take that time for myself, even to sit 5 minutes in meditation, or, really do something, nice for myself, a shower, journaling, movement. Yeah, that kind of sets the tone for the whole day. So I found it really important for myself that I do take that moment in the morning. And then we have the whole rest of the day to play and to cuddle and to kiss and all kind of stuff. But yeah, how important that was just to take a moment, for myself is really helpful.
Yeah. And then you do it, and then you can be a mom and wife and what else.
Yeah.
Beautiful. It's there's so much wisdom, and it's we always learn so much from you, from the stories as they are. I love also the way that you shared it. I mean, just pure and raw and beautiful and full on with with tips and things that people can really pick up. There wasn't a lot of those. We always love to ask for that one golden tip. So if you think back, and that can be your pregnancy, your birth, your postpartum, your mom. If you think back, if you would pick one thing as a golden tip to share with other moms out there, what would that be?
Yeah, I really think it's this kind of knowledge is power. Because there's going to be so much noise around your pregnancy and the birth. So many people telling you what to do and how, like kind of connecting to yourself and getting educated for yourself, and is so deeply empowering. And I had people saying, you'll just go there and it'll be fine, or why no epidural, why this? Just kind of cancel all of that. Just do your own thing, kind of connect to your own intuition, your own inner wisdom and highest self. Get educated, get empowered. And then I think that will also help you in that moment to just, you have all the tools at your disposal, and then you just have to let everything go completely, because of course it can go kind of any way. So just kind of, taking all of those steps to get really grounded and secure within yourself. Then you kind of set yourself up for success in whatever scenario it is. So that's what I would suggest. and every mama is going to know that for herself in her own way, what that means for her.
There's also a lot of it's also a lot of about learning to trust yourself, right? So if you have all the knowledge, then as you say, you can let go, because you know that you're going to be, you know everything that you need to do, and you're going to be more confident in the choices that you make and the decisions that you make, whichever situation presents yourself, even if it is in the end a lot or a little different than what you initially anticipated. So it's really about laying the foundation to connect to yourself then and be okay with whatever comes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And the breath, of course. I mean, we did a lot of beautiful breath work with Kasia, but I cannot underestimate just how powerful that is. And it kept me so present, so it was great to practice, of course, leading up to the birth, but in that moment, like, time does not exist. And if you just stay really deeply with the breath, it's just such a powerful tool. And I think for me, it really helped to make it much more enjoyable experience as well, because then you really are kind of working with the pain, with the surges, instead of kind of against them.
Amazing. Wow, Natalie, I really think your story is going to inspire so many other moms to be out there and help them so much to prepare and feel comfortable and understand what is going on and how they can help themselves. So thanks so much for sharing all of this.
Thank you.
Beautiful birth story. All of those need to go into the world so people hear, listen and learn from them. So thanks. You're going to be an inspiration to other moms to be. We always ask this question: if there are people that would like to know a little bit more details, or would like to know, which acupuncturist who helped you prepare with, even before your pregnancy, who was the amazing Kranfursorgster who helped you so much. I don't know, whatever other question came up. Is there a way that people can contact you, or would you prefer them to contact us and we then sort of pass the questions on, or how would you be available?
Sure, of course. Yeah, so I think both on Facebook and Instagram, you can find me Natalie Love. That's NATALIE.LOVE. And I also have a website also with the same natalie.love URL, which has information about my kind of energy and sound and spiritual work as well. And of course, you can always message your, Mamamoon and connect me, but I'm happy to share.
Thank you. That's amazing. That's going to be very helpful. I do think we need this community and connection between moms and moms to be a lot more, so that we can support each other and help each other out and share the wisdom. Going back to sharing the wisdom, right? Instead of being very much by ourselves and very lonely in that journey. Perfect. We'll make sure to put your Instagram, Facebook handle, and also your website into the show notes. So everyone, make sure to check the show notes for more of Natalie, and also a lot more around her healing practice. I do think there's a lot there as well. We're probably going to talk about that in another podcast. I have a suspicion, because we're going to exceed going to exceed the time that we want to spend in this episode with you. Thanks so much for being with us, Natalie. Everyone else, make sure that you take this inspiring story and share it with other moms out there. We need to share this love, this wisdom, this empowerment, the positive views on birth, and help others out there to get into that same mind space and head space and emotional space that Natalie created for herself and Mira and Kelvin. So make sure to comment what you liked and what you loved, comment what other tips you have, what resonated with you in this episode. There's so much there. We'd love to hear from you here, what you're going to take on board, other tips that you have. And then again, share it with everybody who needs to hear this today. Thanks so much. Thanks again, Natalie. Take good care of yourselves and you, Kelvin and Mira. We'll speak soon.
Love you. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to our Mamamoon podcast. We would love to see you again, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any new episodes.
Also, for more information and to stay up to date, check our website mamamoon.me and our Instagram and Facebook.